He publishes videos of him running up on like kids that prank call this house outside with a gun. Guys, I'm not gay. Plus, I like guns and women. I mean, truly, fuck. Diamond Heart, Aura, and Riz. What it do, bedtime crew? Back at you with a UFC Riz Aura ranking and a face reveal. I am sleepy time. I'm bedtime MMA. Sleepy time tea. Today we're gonna be ranking the UFC fighters by Riz / Aura. We're gonna combine these two attributes into one thing. I also got a new haircut, guys. I know. Dude, I kind of like it. I look like when Theo Von was like back on drugs or something. I don't know. So the UFC is chock full of Riz lords, of people you can feel the aura from. Cool characters, right? And they're not all made equally. You know, some people are cool in different ways. Some people are cooler than others, all this stuff. But I'm going to narrow it down to who I think are the most quintessential athletes with the most Riz. No, not Riz, aura. With the most aura. That's what I'm really going for. The most presence, most interesting, like, vibe, aesthetic. We're going to start with the honorable mentions. Like I said, this could have been a long list. There's a lot of people in the UFC, guys. At least 50. Alex Pereira. Obviously, I'm super cool, super powerful. could feel the aura 10 scrolls away. Aura stat maxed. I wrote this yesterday, so I'm going to read it. Alex could be like S tier. Where I'm going to rank the couple guys that I pick at the end, and Alex could be on the top. But I wanted to pick someone. I mean, in every list, talking about how cool the coolest UFC fighters, Alex could be on the top. I mean, the dude is like funny, mysterious. I mean, in this picture, he looks pretty awesome. He's also like good technically, like he's a good fighter, and just the level at which he like achieved in the UFC in such a short time is pretty goated. There's people that have been here a lot longer that couldn't do it in that time frame, and with as much aesthetic aura as Alex has. He's the talk of the town whenever he has a fight. And Max Holloway. I mean, that's a classic Riz lord. He plays Call of Duty, I think. Obviously dope, but well covered. That's true. I mean, another guy who could win the whole list, but like everyone knows Max Holloway. Everyone knows like he has a cool vibe, but it's like, I don't know. It's too easy of a pick. We're not picking the easy guys. I mean, we are a little bit at the end. I'm not. The guys I picked aren't that crazy. There's one. I think it's a cool list at the end. I really do. Okay, on to the next guys. Honorable mentions, honorably continued. Khamzat. This could be a controversial pick, but okay, yeah. So I wrote formerly the most feared, now has faded into boring callouts and inactivity, although just got fight booked. Yeah, so he's fighting Robert Whitaker in Saudi, right? Pretty sure. But yeah, when he came in to the UFC, the dude was undefeated. He still is, but I mean, he was just killing people in fights, destroying them like first round finishes. Everyone was scared of him. The aura was unmatched. You could feel the aura when you opened your phone and looked at the UFC Instagram. He wasn't even on there yet, but you could feel it. Sometimes you'd shut it out of fear. But now, you know, he just kind of, I don't know. He cares about money. I don't know if he's going to be like a title contender just because of the infrequent amount that he fights. He's definitely good. Controversially beat Kamaru Usman in his last bout, and he's fighting Rob Whitaker next. I think he should win, to be honest. I think Rob Whitaker's good, but he's fading, and Khamzat is still... I think his gas tank is his biggest issue. But yeah, definitely a cool fighter, but less cool now that he just kind of calls everyone out and just says random shit. But he is one of the guys that talks about mauling people and actually does. You know what I mean? Which one fighter later on the list, I have an issue with him saying that. Next guy, Cheeto Vera. Dude, Cheeto. Okay, I wrote exudes cool and personality, but limited to top 5 gatekeeper status for now. He needs a whole video. I agree. I want to make a whole video on him. I think I want to do like an outfit ranking. Because I mean, he's in like an Aimé Leon Dior campaign, however you say that. It's a fucking high fashion brand. It has like a coffee shop in New York. The dude's cool. The dude is probably the best dressed in the UFC. I think people would say Conor just because he wears a suit. But that's not just because you wear a suit doesn't mean you're like dressed well. I think Conor does have nice suits, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, Cheeto has like a crafted aura of like coolness. The people that like he hangs out, like Action Bronson, what's Larry June, The Alchemist. I mean, he has fucking a sick squad, and he gets sent like merch packages from like Supreme and shit. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram. He's always opening like exclusive Nike collabs and like Supreme drops and shit. I mean, that's aura. That's cool. But I'm combining both the aura, the vibe, with technical skill. That's what I'm combining. Because again, if it was just aura, Chia would be on the top of the list. But for now, you know, he is not a champion. Could be one day. I think it'd be difficult. But, you know, he's a top 5 guy. Definitely high up on the list, but let's continue. That was pretty sick. Last honorable mention, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. This guy's probably my favorite fighter, I would say. He's fighting tomorrow. No, tomorrow's Friday. He's fighting in 2 days, and I'm excited. So Dustin, again, dope but well covered. Diamond, Hard, Aura, and Riz also needs his own video. Yeah, I want to do his own video. Just kind of covering his career retrospective, or at least the things I think are interesting about him. I mean, he's so technically good. He's also kind of one of the gatekeepers. I wouldn't call him a gatekeeper though. I would genuinely say he could beat probably anyone in the division. Yeah, I mean, I would just say that he could beat anyone in the division, but Islam being the champion, that's probably the hardest person for him to beat. Very difficult. That's his worst matchup. The guy's a GOAT fighter, legendary, the uncrowned champ. I should have put a picture of him with the Hawaiian shirts. Pretty sick. Fits. I just like people that have their own style. That's why I like Cheeto over Connor. I think Connor definitely has his own style, but it's too easy to pick Connor as like the best dressed or the coolest. Dustin has his own hot style. I mean, he's doing his own shit. I appreciate people that have like a air of individuality. Don't seem so corporate. The War Hat, Marvin Hagler, shout out. Yeah, Dustin's a vibe master. Walks out to James Brown. What more could you ask for? Puts on like entertaining fights. He's not like a lame prayer. He's not technical. He is technical. He's not a point fighter. Cool in the ring, cool out of the ring. I appreciate Dustin Poirier. I think he's got a nice vibe. I like the personality. He's emotional. He's not like, doesn't have all these crafted statements. He just kind of says shit, says what he's feeling. It's cool. You know what I mean? And you can be cool in different ways. For example, Alex Pereira doesn't even fucking talk, but he's still cool. Everyone, I like when people do their own thing, and it seems like authentic to them. That's what aura is to me. I was struggling to define that in the beginning of this. When I was writing this shit out, I was going to put a slide that said, how you define aura. And I couldn't think of anything. I looked up on Urban Dictionary, like how do you define it? And it was talking about some weird shit. But yeah, that's how I define it. An authentic representation of self that's cool and you could perceive as being like real. Like it's not fake. Like, you can tell when someone just has their own like individuality and they're just chill. They're chill with being themselves. That's what I like. That's what I appreciate. Comment what aura means to you. Goodbye. Okay. Now, this is before I show you the final picks. I picked 4 guys that I think represent the different aspects of the aura shell, right? And like the different, like some people are on the dark side of aura, some people are on the light side, the Sith Lords and the Jedi. There's different yin and yang, the yin and yang of aura. That's what I'm trying to represent here cohesively with 4 picks. And I actually wrote some slides out going into depth about these guys. Here we go. Connor, obviously. It's just the classic bit. You have to put him on the list. You have to talk about him when you're talking about the style, the individuality, like when people think about fighting, they think about Conor McGregor. It's just true. You have to include him. Now, Sean Strickland. Like it or not, he has a presence. And I want to break down how they're different and how they're connected in a second. But like it or not, he has a presence. Again, Sean O'Malley. Like it or not, he has a presence. Some people hate Sean O'Malley. Some people like him. What's funny is most people don't like. The majority of people don't really say they hate Sean Strickland, which I think is interesting because some people hate Sean O'Malley. I don't know. It's just weird. Now, last but not least, Payton Talbot. This is the sleeper pick, guys. This is the sleeper pick. Yeah. So interesting links between these guys. They reflect each other thematically. They're like opposites of each other, and sometimes they're connected in weird ways. Let's talk about it. Let's freaking do this. So, Conor McGregor. Wait, I have to move my fucking thing. I have to move my thing. Give me a second. I just want to show you guys this picture of Conor smoking the joint. It's pretty cool. All right, Conor McGregor, faded glory. All right, that's my description. Has become an action movie star. The early aura was undeniable, but to be honest, the media performances now seem occasionally forced. Can never hate Conor though. Always a draw. Cocaine. So I mean, it's undeniably true that Conor, when he came onto the scene, he elevated the whole sport. He changed the perception of it publicly. He was such an individual, such a personality, such a strong personality. He dictated kind of the ceiling of what was going on at the time. Because previously it was thought to be like a blood sport, whatever. Seedy, back alley, shitty. Truly, Conor changed, he elevated the aura of the UFC. That's just true. You have to give him credit for that. But notice how I say faded glory. We're talking about the old Conor. And I can't lie and say that Conor doesn't still have aura. He does. He's a magnetic personality. You're always interested to see what he's doing, what he has to say. I'll always watch a Conor McGregor promotion. I'll check into the interviews. But you also notice now that like the press appearances, that they seem more, I mean, corporate just naturally, because he has his hands in like more businesses now. He has to represent things better, kind of. And he's lost a bit of the shine. His techniques, technically his skills have faded. I'm excited to see what he does with Chandler. I'm just curious to see like how he comes back from the Dustin Poirier leg break. Yeah, you can't hate him, but you also have to be realistic about there has been a little decline in aura. I would say about -2 points. So now we're sitting at like a what? I don't know. I did the math. I don't know. But I mean, he'll always be a draw. And I'm using him honestly as he's kind of like the barometer of how we'll judge the rest of the guys. He's still fucking up there. He's still like a powerful aura. You could feel the scroll probably like 15 scrolls away, just to be real. Feel the aura rather. But we're using him as like the metric to judge the other guys. All right. Now this is an interesting one. Sean Strickland. Now I wrote controlled opposition. I'm like, okay, we're good. Control opposition. I mean, so if we have Conor McGregor, I'm going to put Sean Strickland below Conor McGregor in terms of aura. A couple notches. Because in my mind, he was annoying. Then he was cool. Then he was annoying again. Like now, I just find the gimmick to be old. Guys, I'm not gay. Plus, I like guns and women. I mean, yeah, genuinely, I can see him saying all of these words. Just kind of talks about the same shit over and over again. Not as interesting as I thought he was. No, I'll rephrase that. I think he's an interesting person, but I think he plays up this persona of like the American like freedom hero outside. Like he rides motorcycles. He's crazy. He has a gun. He publishes videos of him running up on like kids that prank call his house outside with a gun on his Ring camera or whatever the fuck. I don't know. It's just like this image of like the red-blooded Republican. I don't know. I just think it's fake. I think it's kind of boring. I think he's being pushed by the UFC a lot because he represents a large portion of their demographic, a paying demographic. That the Nelt Boys also kind of... Yeah, it's funny because I think the Nelt Boys and Sean Strickland are attached to the same demographic, yet Sean Strickland will routinely shit on the Nelt Boys for what they represent. He represents kind of the flip side of the same coin, whereas the Nelt Boys represent the younger generation of what Sean Strickland was, right? The partying, the girls, and then Sean Strickland represents a bit I would say mature, but honestly, I would just say like the tax-paying version of that, like when you're out of college, and it's still cool to be like, you know, a fucking talk about how gay people are bad and like women need to be in the kitchen. Doesn't he have that shirt that's like women in the kitchen and guns in every hand? It's just, I don't know, who gives a fuck, bro? It's just tired. And here's another thing. It's gonna be a bloodbath, right? He talks about how he's just fucking, he goes to war, man. He always says this, I go to war. And then he watches fights and he's a fucking good fighter. He's a good boxer, but it's just point fighting. Truthfully, he's point fighting. Like, he'll do the fucking Philly shell, the jab, boom, jab. He won't wrestle. He won't mix it up. He'll throw in a couple leg kicks. And he's good. He's very good at it. He deserves to be in the top. I just think it's funny that like he promotes the image of him being this fucking crazy person that he fights like Israel Adesanya, who you shit on. It's just funny. Yeah, so control opposition. He's a good fighter though. He's cool. Sean O'Malley, the corporate clone. Now you know how I said we're gonna use Conor as the metric of these other guys. Here's where this comes into play the most. Now O'Malley started the career as a Conor clone. Truthfully. The tattoos, I mean, the personality, the shades, the way he dresses. He dresses more flamboyantly, of course. I mean, the pink hair, pink shorts, all that shit. But the sunglasses, like the presence that he is emulating or tried to emulate, especially early in his career, he was just trying to be Conor McGregor. And that's like, that like makes sense, right? I'm not going to knock him for that. I'm not going to be like, you're just like, makes sense. You want the money fights. And to be honest, I think he has grown to be more likable as he's coming to his own. I still don't think he's good in like the media interviews and shit. He's not like funny like on the spot like that. And I think outside of those settings, like on his podcast, he's really funny. He's really cool. I like Sean O'Malley. I don't really like the Sean O'Malley who's like performing for the media press conferences. You know what I'm saying? It's inauthentic. I think you can kind of tell. The one-liners. It reminds me of Izzy. Like, I think Izzy's cool. I don't like when Izzy like performs and says it has like one-liners that he's like writing before the. I don't know. It just feels kind of forced. Good fighter though. I mean, super exciting fighter. Super interesting style. Very much his own. You can't knock that at all. He's a cool champion. I think he deserves to be there. I think people say he got fast tracked, which I mean is fair. He definitely. I mean, so did Connor, bro. Or not fast tracked, but also kind of protected. Gave him fights he can win. I mean, he's taking on Marab. That's a fucking. That's like a pretty fucking hard fight. You can't knock him inside the ring. You truly can't. He's a great fighter. And I think his podcast, people outside, like his appearances outside the media, like I said, outside the corporatized media, he's funny. He's interesting as a personality. I would listen to his podcast. I like his podcast with his coach as well. They both like have their own, I think, as well. Yeah. I think if he tried less to be a star, I think he'd be more of a star. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Okay, last but not least. This is the most interesting one, I think. Yeah, this is the most interesting one. Payton Talbot, the chosen one. Now this, if we're talking about fucking Jedi and Sith, this is Anakin Skywalker. This is the chosen one. Guys, I was editing that video and I just paused to touch on this subject here. I talk about the chosen one, Anakin Skywalker, all that shit, and I don't really address it anymore. So I think, it's my theory, okay, that the universe gives what is needed at the time, right? So when the UFC was, kind of stagnating, it needed a star, it needed a elevation, needed an individualistic personality, it needed like something to electrify, and then Conor McGregor came. And with him, the entire sport rose, the company rose, the media presence within the UFC rose, and then you get the wave of like Conor copycats, and then following that, Sean O'Malley comes in trying to replicate the electricity that Conor generated, right? And then now you see even in other industries too, like after the Mr. Beast wave on YouTube, there's a new wave of like more authentic creators, authenticity is now valued more because we got so much of like the force shit following, what was popular, like Conor McGregor. People were trying to replicate him, and they were being this weird like Colby Covington fake character, just weird shit. And like me, I'm like, I'm tired of it, so I know at least some other people are. And now we get people like Payton Talbot, who is like the purified form of it, right? Doesn't really seem like he's trying to like convince you that he's cool. Seems like he's just kind of doing his own thing. And if you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. And that's what I appreciate more so than like the Colby Covington, like characterized, like caricatured, like just weird shit. Or even the Sean Stricklands who are like presenting authenticity and I just say what's on my mind. Just all that stuff. But then even that seems forced. You know what I mean? Because you're catering to like a demographic. So that's kind of what I meant for the yin yang and all that shit. Namaste. Now, inside the ring, okay? We'll talk about that first. No boring fights. Legitimate title contender. I wrote Anakin rizzwalker. It's not funny. Black flips. That was a bad joke. I shouldn't have wrote that. The dude is good. Fucking really good. He's interesting. He's fun to watch. He's going to be a draw. Yeah, I mean, he does backflips inside the ring. That's pretty wild. It's like Michael Pereira, but better and way more skilled, technically. You know what I mean? Or Michelle Pereira, however you say that. So inside the ring, I mean, he's got it working for him. He's good. He's a good style of stand-up, grappling strong, relative to like what we've seen, No one's really take him down and like shit on him. I would assume that would probably be like a counter to him at some point. That's how you neutralize kind of those guys. Like people like Sean O'Malley, you have to take him down. Now outside the ring, this is where it's super interesting. Listens to death grips and crystal castles. What more can I say? That's fire. No, how many people do you know in the UFC that walk out to crystal castles? He walks out to Deftones too. That's awesome. The YouTube videos he posts, they're sick. Go check them out. I'll put like a link in the description. I was about to laugh at me writing backflips, but it's not funny. So he replies to me on Instagram sometimes. I'm surprised every time, but that's pretty cool. Authentic personality, just chilling, opposite of O'Malley media appearances. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look like he's trying. Doesn't look like he cares about like the perception of him, which can be like bad sometimes. You know what I mean? When you're like a guy's like, or even if your friend, like you'd say something, he's like, I don't care. So yeah, you do. Like you're fucking lying. Everyone knows. Everyone cares a little bit. But it's like, I mean, he comes in with this chilled mindset. It just seems like he's happy to be there. He's having fun. You know what I mean? Not working a normal job. Chilling. It's cool. I appreciate it. I think people like authenticity. I know I do. I think it's cool to watch, and I think that will help him kind of rise through the ranks a little faster because he's got an interesting style. He kind of lets the fighting speak for him. I think Sean O'Malley does that as well, but I think he feels the pressure to have like quotables at the media, like face-offs and shit. You know what I mean? And whenever you start doing that, it just starts feeling forced. And I hope that doesn't happen for Payton. I don't think it will. I mean, I think he's cool. I doubt he's the one that's gonna be like looking for like quotable lines and shit. You know, he's probably looking more so for quotable or clippable like knockouts, and that's cooler. And truthfully, I think he could be like a title contender, like for real. So now we have to rank him. Okay, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna go out of this. So I put Connor. Wait, let me fucking fix my thing. So I'm gonna put Connor at the benchmark. I think he has to be A tier just because like of what he's done in his career so far. He's A tier. I mean, he's just the pinnacle of like success in the UFC, inside, outside the ring, or octagon. I say ring. It's a fucking octagon. Now Strickland. I mean, look, I can't. People like him. I think he's inauthentic. It's B or C. That's what I mean. It's B or C. I think he's interesting. I think he's a good fighter. Okay, I'm gonna go B. I'm a positive guy. Sean, I think I'm putting an A too. I think he's cool. I think he has to be A, right? Payton, S. Yeah, I'm going with that. Yeah, that's it, dude. Check out Payton's YouTube channel. I think it's cool. It's fun to watch. Good music taste. And I'm excited for the Dustin fight tomorrow. 2 days, I mean. Lots of cool fights coming up. Hey, man, what do you think? Who's the rizziest Livy Dunn UFC fighter? Put in the comments below. I don't know. Who fucking... All right, bye, guys.
I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Sometimes I did the same.